Greetings, everyone. This is me again, Zahara, ex-Muslim, Ex-Shia. Now, my mission is to help the ex-Muslims to convert to Christianity or any other religion. For now, it's Christianity, so I'm going to show you this. And those would-be Muslims converting, leaving Islam and then converting to Christianity. To help them not to do this, so again, on Luke 19, verse 27. So the king in Luke 19, verse 27 is Jesus or and God sovereign, and he is not unjust or wicked. Proof from the Gospels. Now, so in my previous live stream, I showed you proof from the Old Testament that the sovereign God takes revenge. And although he says to his people, you don't have to fight, you don't fight, I will fight for you. But then he also says, I will be with you, fight, right? I will fight for you. And he uses his people to fight the wars against the wicked. So all this. Now, again, showing you um, right from the Gospels now, maybe in detail, stuck on this. So, Matthew 24, the day and hour unknown. Now, how does God, wait a minute, this God, right? And this is Jesus, right? In Luke 27. So, I'm taking Matthew 24 now, the day and hour unknown. Now, Jesus is talking about himself, the Son of Man here, in Matthew 24, verse, we see 44. So, you also must be ready because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him, right? So the Son of Man is Jesus now. He's referring to himself as the Son of Man. And he's also the Master here. He's talking about himself as the Master. So 45, Matthew 24, 45. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? 46. It will be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. 47. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. 48. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, my master is staying away a long time. 49. And he then begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. What would the master do when the master comes? 50. Matthew 24, 50. Now the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him and at an hour he is not aware of. And what does this master do? 51. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Thank you, BibleStudyTools.com. Matthew 24 verses, I've taken it from there. So here we see that Jesus is the master. He's talking about himself coming back and cutting. So this is the second coming, they say, the Christians say, of Jesus when he comes back. Cutting into pieces, different interpretations of this. There is one from the Bible verses that cutting into pieces was their rule, right? Physically cutting them into pieces, the wicked ones. This was the punishment implemented on the wicked people, executed also. literally cutting them into pieces. Although some say it's severing the soul from the body. God will do that and in the end throw them in hell. The hypocrites, the wicked, those who have gone against the will of God and the law of God. So, which one to take, which interpretation to take, right? And then the Christians say, taking such an interpretation of this Matthew 24 verses 50, especially 51, he will cut him to pieces. That this taking that this is just not physically done, right? Cutting, punishing them by these hypocrites by cutting them into pieces physically. So then we come back to Luke 19, 26 and 27. 26, he replied, I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given. Now, Jesus is telling them as the king, as himself, right? But as for the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away. And then 27, but those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. So the previous verse also shows that Jesus is talking about himself, saying, I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given. Whenever he says this style, he's talking about himself. And the king is him. But he didn't have the power to do this. He tells them, bring those enemies of mine, right? His disciples don't have the power to do this. Sell your cloak to buy the sword. Another verse from Jesus, right? In the gospel. Bring them here and kill them in front of me. Just when he's entering Jerusalem. So now Jesus, who is Jesus is talking about the true king and the master, right? Here also, himself. But he can't fulfill this right now. But those enemies of mine who do not want to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. So this king is also, if you look at Luke 19, the parable of the minas, this king is Jesus and God sovereign, or God, both of them, right? Or Jesus only. Can you see it from the gospel? So even the here, so the gospel of Matthew 24, the master will come and cut him into pieces. But the servant who is a hypocrite and disobedient servant, the Son of Man, Jesus is talking about himself as the master. Then we see in Matthew 22, the parable of the wedding banquet. And again, Jesus 22, Matthew 22, 22. And again, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, oh, it's Matthew 22, 1. This is 1. And again, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, and then verse 2, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a marriage feast for his son. 3, and sent his servants to call those who were invited to the marriage feast. So the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a marriage feast for his son. Then what is important for these verses to know that Jesus is talking about himself in Luke 27, 6 verse, Matthew 22, verse 6. While the rest seized his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. Verse 7. The king was angry. The king was angry and he sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burnt that city. So God, the king, right, can do this, whether this is God the sovereign or his son, or both. King was angry at this disobedience, killing, violence, shamefully treating them, seizing his servants, all this. The king was angry. So the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king. So this kingdom of heaven is angry and he's giving a marriage feast for his son. So please work out, Christians, with the son, king, both one and the same. But what is important here is to see that the king is angry. Kingdom of heaven is angry as the king. And he sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burnt the city. And this is in the Gospel of Matthew, right? Now, all this is like they say it, Jesus is talking in parables. And this is all allegorical or symbolic. God has forgiven us. God doesn't get angry anymore. He used to get angry and get kill the wicked, sinful hypocrites. But now he doesn't get angry. And it's just a parable. No, it is really, Jesus is saying through the parable that the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who is angry. And he sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burned the city. Okay, he did that, right? And then he said to his servants, wedding is ready. But those invited were not worthy. So, 9, go therefore to the thoroughfares and invite to the marriage feast as many as you find. 10, and those servants went out into the streets and gathered all whom they found, both bad and good. So the wedding hall was filled with guests. For the son, he said, bad and good have come. But 11, is it important? And so the king, when the king came to look at the guests, he saw there a man who had no wedding garment. 12, and he said to him, friend, how did you get in here without a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Maybe not ready because these people are gathering them, his servants, king's servants, bad and good. Go to the thoroughfares and invite for the marriage feast. Maybe time was given you, anyways, or not. How much time was given to them to change clothes, the clothes? And of course, it means allegorical. What do the clothes stand for? Celebrating. What do they stand for? So this part, yeah, I do agree, is allegorical. And he was speechless. He wasn't wearing the wedding garment, right? So 13, then the king said to the attendants, bind him hand and foot and cast him into the outer darkness. Hell, or what? Outer darkness. He's gone out of the light now. There, there men will weep and gnash their teeth. 14, for many are called, but few are chosen. So since they were called, they were not chosen. Now, the wedding garment could stand for something. I'm not going into that, right? But the king is says, bind him hand and foot, not forgiving. These bad people are not forgiven, right? Even in the gospel. So this part we must take literally, shouldn't we? And why shouldn't we? Back to Luke. Back to the Matthew, the wedding feast, verse 2. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a marriage feast for his son. And since they didn't have the garment, you are geniuses, you are high level intelligent, you can at least you can tell what it stands for, the wedding garment, right? King and the son could be that now here the king is God and the son of the king, the is who? Jesus. Or the kingdom of heaven is like a king whose son is giving a wedding feast. So you work out that. What I if even if I don't haven't worked out this, I know that this is enough. What I'm showing you, not working this out, what he means, and who the whether the king is God of the kingdom of heaven. Oh no, no, the kingdom of heaven is king here, and he's giving a feast for his son, and it's all allegorical. I understand this. Bind him hand foot. So allegorically or metaphorically, they will be binded hand and foot, and cast into the outer darkness. But the punishment is going to take place, right? So back to Luke 19, verses 26 to 27. He replied, 26, he replied, I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given. But as for the one who has nothing, so his father, his king, his God, sovereign, his father will give to everyone and himself a son of God, right? So that's why he gave the parable of the mina. And the king truly is him, right? But as for the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away. 27. But those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, although he's appointed himself as king, but there's discrepancies in the Bible verses too, right? But the king is chosen by God where? Zechariah. So I will use Zechariah later, right? Bring them. What else did I tell you in the previous live stream on this point, right? That the I forgot the point had come and I was just in, and it's left. But those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring he this king appointed himself because he had the power from God sovereign, right? His father. Bring them here and kill them in front of me. Okay, how shall I? Okay, there's some allegorical stuff going on because it's a parable, and also there's some physical, like this king is Jesus, right? How did I show you this? Right? This king is not cruel according to the Bible verses. This king is just this king. Yeah, this is the point I wanted to bring here on the parable of the Minas. So this king is not unjust or wicked. In Luke 19:20, even when he says, bring my enemies, this king is not. Because we see in the Old Testament God saying, I will punish the wicked. I will punish your enemies, my people, my land, Jerusalem, oh, whichever, Israel, right? I will punish your enemies. I will be the avenger. I will be the avenger. And it doesn't stop at Jesus' time, because you see in the gospel, at least even if you say, the Christians say allegorically, but allegorically also the punishment is there, right? This king is not wicked, like the sovereign God who avenges by punishing. And sometimes I've shown you here, right, that there are also the Old Testament from the Old Testament, but the sovereign Lord or God is hard too. He takes punishment, he gives punishment to the wicked, to the hypocrites, to the treacherous, to those who have gone against his will and law. Examples I gave from Exodus 14:14. This was from the Old Testament, right? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Here he says this in 2 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 17. God, what does this verse say? You will not, God says to them, you will not need to fight in this battle. Stand firm, hold your position. Now they are in the battle, and we see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf. And see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf, O Judah and Jerusalem. Are they cities or are they people? They just need to be still and not fight. They are still. So do not be afraid and do not be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them. Huh? So the God is fighting through them. They have to fight. Tomorrow go out against them, and the Lord will be with you. So literally fighting now. This allegorical, or Judah or Jerusalem, be still, stand firm, hold your position, fight in this. You will not need to fight. But then he says, tomorrow go out. So the people of Judah and Jerusalem are going out. The people of God are going out to fight. So you see the style of the Bible? 2 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 17. You see this? Some part, he's personifying Judah and Jerusalem as a city, or who son. Judah is a son. The kingdom, the Judah is a kingdom also, right? And Jerusalem, was Judah, the kingdom of Judah's capital. And maybe there are even men, right, chosen by God, the righteous servants of God, the righteous people of God. Okay, sometimes he calls them his children also in the Old Testament. The Lord will be with you. But look at this part, right? What is now much important for this? Tomorrow go out against them, and the Lord will be with you. Okay, whether it's personified the cities or the kingdom, saying to them, fight. You don't need to fight in this battle. Stand firm. I don't know that much, but I know this much. And the style, and if it, like, O daughter of Jerusalem, like, so I don't know how to say this, but I'm not ready for it. But at least see that, even though God has said, you do not need to fight in this battle, okay, forget the personification and all of the cities and the kingdoms by God and the metaphorical way he's written it for Judah and Jerusalem. If Judah is the kingdom and Jerusalem is the capital city of the kingdom of Judah or the city, okay? You will not need to fight in this battle. So they're not supposed to fight, right? You would think. But then he says, tomorrow go out against them, and the Lord will be with you. Go out against them in battle. Stand, hold firm your position. See the style also. Deuteronomy 20, verse 4. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, goes with you to fight for you against your enemies. Meaning, again, you see, tomorrow go out against them, and meaning fight, the Lord is with you. Again, Deuteronomy 3, verse 22, this part, for it is the Lord your God who fights for you. Yes, right? But, so, you shall not fear them. Deuteronomy 3, verse 22. Exodus 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord God is a man of war. The Lord is his name. He's a man of, so the Lord is a man. Now he's comparing himself to a man of war. Why is he doing this? I don't know the whole of Exodus 15. But he does compare himself to the man of war. He will war, meaning he will war against the unrighteous and all the wicked, the hypocrites. So, how beautifully Matthew 24. Okay. Oh, no, no. So, these verses I've given, not this is my previous, for the previous live stream. The gospel in the, sorry, in the Old Testament also, the sovereign Lord of God is hard too, and very, he takes all these gives all these punishments and tells them to fight. And I haven't given the verses where the God's wrath, what kind of wraths are given to them, right? God brings on them, on the wicked, and even cutting and all this. But now it's become like metaphorical here in the Gospels, the Christians would say. But some would say, no, there's physical also from the previous verses we see. So, cutting, the master will cut you into pieces. Son of man, when Son of man is the master. If you're disobedient to your master, even as a Christian, yeah, then you're not a Christian. He'll come and cut you into pieces. It could happen physically, it could happen psychologically, spiritually, right? But it will happen, cutting into pieces. Like Jesus says, cut off your hand if it sins, your right hand. Pull out your right eye if it sins. No doubt Jesus has given responsibility to every sinner to do that. But it doesn't mean that it's not violent and gruesome. Sorry, my stomach. I haven't put anything in my stomach since I think I woke up. Just tea, not a liquid, yeah, tea, not anything like food or just liquid. So please bear with me. My performance may be low, right? However, I had to start now and do this. Now, the king is hard, and like the sovereign God, the avenger, the sovereign God is the avenger, but sometimes he's with them, his people, and they have to fight and to implement the punishments and execute the punishments that God has given them against the wicked, against the unfaithful, against the hypocrites. And God is the avenger. The sovereign God is the avenger. Proof. So the king is hard, right? Proof from the Gospels. And this hard king is not cruel, not unjust. Luke 19:27. But those enemies of mine who do not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. That's Jesus. Now you see they change it and all this, but Jesus has made a mockery, right? He gives a parable, tries to confuse the people. Now, what are the Christians saying? Christians are saying this is a cruel king, this is a cruel king, this is a hard king, this is not an unjust king, this is not a cruel king. And then when you see that after this, Jesus enters Jerusalem saying this. So the Christian says that the prophecy has been fulfilled. You see how Jesus has fulfilled the prophecy in Zechariah. Jesus comes to Jerusalem, Luke 19, and Luke 19 we're told, and Matthew also enters riding on a donkey, fulfills the prophecy in Zechariah 9, verse 9. But look, only partly of even of Zechariah 9:9, right? Doesn't fulfill the whole prophecy. Then they bring about saying that Jesus said he will come back again, the second coming, where he will fulfill the prophecy. Do you see that when Jesus has said this about himself as the king, bring my enemies here and kill them? God would do this too, right? And I've shown you. This is now one of the conclusive again, and to make you really get it, digest it. Right? Stream this presentation here is conclusive now. Jesus comes to look at the part. Jesus, even in Zechariah, did not fulfill Zechariah 9 verse 9's prophecy, coming of Zion's king. Zechariah 9, right? A prophecy, right? 9, verse 9. Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. Where is that? Oh, they are rejoicing. Oh, they start to, the people with Jesus over there and maybe in Jerusalem. Oh, blessed is God, rejoice the glory of God and all this. But that was all fake, right? Like how superficial. Because what is supposed to happen here? Rejoice greatly, daughter of Zion. Shout, daughter of Jerusalem. Now, the daughter of Jerusalem has not recognized Jesus, although they did shout, blessed is the Lord who cometh, and all this, from you can see Matthew and Luke too. But is this really, ask us, see your king comes to you, righteous and victorious. Now he's victorious, lowly, humble, and riding on a donkey, meaning this king is riding on a very, cheap animal. He's so lowly, right? So humble. So on a colt, yeah, the fall of a donkey, the fall of a donkey. So Jerusalem is to rejoice like Zion. But Jesus entering Jerusalem weeps for her. And then Jesus says, although they praise the Lord and all this happens, but is this really that victory that even here? And you see Zechariah 9, and then the later verses also in Zechariah 9, the God now enters, comes. All this prophecy and the sling stones and the violence, and God brings his wrath on the people who are not the daughter Jerusalem, who is not God's daughter. In Jerusalem, the wicked people, in Zion, the wicked people who have perhaps conquered Zion and Jerusalem, God is against them. God is not against Jerusalem. Now, Jesus says here, you see, another point. Luke 19, verse 41. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. 42 verse, and said, even you had only known on this day what. Now Jesus is talking to Jerusalem, the city, and it's meaning the people also. But that's not what God means here in Zechariah. He says, rejoice, daughter Jerusalem. God's daughter is Jerusalem. God's daughter is Zion. They're supposed to rejoice, not recognize God when he enters, or when the king enters Jerusalem. You see this? Saw the city, wept over it. Jerusalem, daughter Jerusalem, God calls in Zechariah 9:9. So this Jerusalem is to rejoice like Zion. Your king has come. Jesus is saying, isn't she supposed to rejoice? Daughter of God, daughter Jerusalem, or the daughter of the king. Your king has come, righteous and victorious. So now deeply think about it. How is this daughter Jerusalem? How did this daughter Jerusalem fail to recognize what Jesus has said should have been recognized? Her king. If the king is victorious, daughter is supposed to, daughter Jerusalem, recognize, shout. She's not shouting here. In Luke 19, Jesus wept and condemned her. And even you had only known on this day what would bring you peace, Jerusalem, not the people of Jerusalem, not the wicked ones in Jerusalem. Jerusalem itself, Jesus is talking about. Daughter, whom God calls daughter in Zechariah 9:9. So said, if you even, okay, this I read out there, but now it is hidden from your eyes. They haven't recognized their king. Here it seems Zechariah 9:9 that the Jerusalem daughter, Jerusalem will recognize her king and shout. Even this prophecy, Jesus does not fulfill. These verses are telling us in Luke 19:43, the days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. Why? 44 tells us, Luke 19:44 verse, they will dash you to the ground, and you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. No, Zechariah tells us 9:9 that she seems to be daughter shout. God is telling her, daughter Jerusalem, shout, rejoice, daughter Zion, with daughter Zion. See, your king has come. Your king comes to you, to you. How can it be? It seems that here she's recognized her king. Jerusalem is recognized. Nothing against Jerusalem not recognizing here in Zechariah 9, verse 9, or even the later verses of Zechariah 9 after verse 9. Nothing. That Jerusalem doesn't, fails to recognize her king, victorious, lowly, humble, riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey, right? So, and then we see it's Zechariah 9 that in Zechariah 9 that Jesus does not fulfill the whole prophecy even given in it. Zechariah 9 prophecy. Not the So we go to Zechariah 9 prophecy. The whole. Where is it? So what did I say earlier in the previous live stream? Christianity finished what I worked out, right? So Luke, no victory, peace for Jerusalem. Jerusalem didn't recognize the time of God coming to her. Jesus says this, right? So she gets punished. She will be punished, not the people, wicked people in her city. It's called the daughter of Jerusalem in Zechariah. Judgment on Zechariah here. Judgment on Israel's enemies. Zechariah. Now Jesus is not only an Israeli, there are others who are, and Jerusalem is the daughter, right? A prophecy. 9. The coming of Zion's king. 9. Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. 10, verse 10. I will take away the chariots from Ephraim. Ephraim. Sorry, I can't pronounce this. And the war houses from Jerusalem. The war horses from Jerusalem, and the battle bow will be broken. He will proclaim peace to the nations. His rule will extend from sea to sea and from river to the ends of the earth. Doesn't seem like he's coming on a second coming. It will happen here when he enters, the king enters, and Jerusalem is going to rejoice, supposed to shout and rejoice and welcome the king. For as for you, because of the blood of my covenant with you, daughter of Zion and daughter Zion, daughter Jerusalem, I will free your prisoners from the waterless pit. 12 verse. Return to your fortress, you prisoners of hope. Even now I announce that I will restore twice as much to you. Those who have been given will, what's the parable? Twice they will receive twice as much. Yeah. Go to Luke and check this. Then 13, I will bend Judah. Does it say I will bend Jerusalem? Judah was then, or a man, or the kingdom of that time. Kingdom. Judah was a kingdom, right? And Jerusalem was its capital, or the city in Judah. So I will bend Judah as I bend my bow and fill it with Ephraim. I will rouse your sons, Zion, against your sons, Greece. Against your sons, Greece, meaning, and make you like a warrior sword. Where did Jesus do this? The king, as the king, who entered Jerusalem. Failed to do this here at his time when he entered Jerusalem. Now then the Lord will appear, 14, right? Zechariah 9:14 verse. Then the Lord will appear over them. His arrow will flash like lightning. The sovereign Lord will sound the trumpet. He will march in the storms of the south. Where does it say that Jerusalem is going to be crushed? Her enemies are going to get her. She didn't recognize her king. Hmm? And this also, notice, right? The Lord Almighty will shield them. They will destroy and overcome with sling stones. They will drink and roar as with wine. They will be full like a bowl, used for sprinkling the corners of the altar. Right? The 15 of Zechariah 9, 15 verse. Then 16 verse of Zechariah 9. The Lord, the God, will save his people on that day. Save his people. Jerusalem will be saved. People will be saved. I don't see any like enemies of Jerusalem will reign over Jerusalem. Kill them or whatever, plunder, kill their people, their children, their men. This is what Jesus has said in Luke. And then you know why I'm taking, if you don't, Zechariah, because Jesus fulfilled, they say, Jesus fulfilled the prophecy in Zechariah 9. There's still 9, Zechariah 9, and the verse 9, that he humbly entered and they rejoiced, people with Jesus or in Jerusalem, they rejoiced. They praised God and this, or how they rejoiced. I haven't given those verses which are in the Bible, in the Gospel, right? Do you see any, like, how attractive and beautiful they will be? Grain will make the young men thrive, and the new wine the young women. 17 verse of Zechariah 9. This the whole prophecy, this Zechariah 9, right? You can see the whole prophecy, a prophecy 9, not only verse 9 and this part of the verse, but notice, shout, rejoice greatly, daughter Zion, shout, praise, or, shout and praise of your king who has gained victory for you. How is this terrible thing going to come against Jerusalem? Jesus Jesus said it. I didn't say it when he entered. When he saw Jerusalem, he said, this is not right. You see, that's why Jerusalem could not recognize, because it's not the true king. Although Jesus entered on a colt, this part of Jerusalem, this part of Zechariah 9, verse 9 comes true. And they rejoiced. I will take away the chariots from Ephraim. Ephraim, right? I keep forgetting how to pronounce this. Sorry. Don't see what Jesus has said here. Come true. Luke, Luke 19, 41 verse. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, as he approached, and when he saw the city, he's approaching Jerusalem, right? And he saw the city, he wept over it. Oh, because they didn't recognize the time of God, the Son of God, God Himself on earth. Come on. So this is the problem here, where I stop and I say the Jews are right. So for the Jews also, not only me, if you don't trust me, if you think I'm biased and all this, right? I could not put my bias aside. I'm still angry at those Christians. Well, that anger is aside, or that, you see what anger, I'm hurt to see that honesty has died. And they've even lied against me on Candid with Lubna channel, where I commented for Lubna against Christian Prince in a way, very, like I said, like take him as a joker here. He's wrong about you. No one was taking her side. They're saying, oh, he's a legend, he's this, yeah, Lubna, you, but, he's a Christian Prince, this, that. So I also commented for Lubna. She should not have been called a hypocrite, or a coward, at least, not a coward and not a hypocrite. Anyways, I can call her out, Lubna. Sorry. So the Christians there have commented, my friend, the truth hurts. And another one has commented that, again, what the truth hurts? That Lubna is a hypocrite? Now they've gone on my former religion, and I'm not even a Muslim. And one has called me, I like said that I'm in taqiyya. That means dissimulation. That means I'm lying. Whatever I've done against Islam, Quran, showing you what problems, what errors, what omissions, what misrepresentation, what this, against Shia Islam too. I mean, I've gotten angry at those Christians, upset that no, and even suspected them of being Shias, right? Houston Euler and all. Called Hoffer, right? Before Houston Euler. Taking me to the Sunni hadiths and all this. I won't be able to help my Shias simultaneously as I'm helping the Sunnis leave Islam. It's very easy for the Sunnis to show. It's very easy for me to show the Sunnis from the hadiths. What ridiculous they are. Do you follow this? I would have asked my principal if I could, if this was ethical in my religion, as a Shia, right? Uh, Mommy, you believe in these hadiths? What, they've made a mockery. The enemies, we say, the Shia say, these at that time of Prophet Muhammad made a mockery of. They were enemies of even the of Prophet Muhammad. Even though some of the wives, can't you see this and that? I could have spoken to her like this, because being after the truth, going to her house, visiting her, it may have come out, it may not have come out. I would say, enjoy the best destiny has given you, or God, whoever is responsible, the time with your mummy, and stop this talking about this. And I would wish her the truth, follow the truth, live the truth, find the truth, follow true religion also. But there's no true religion, I think, now. Pradeep, Sir Pradeep Mukherjee has given us many answers, and Whatever it is, I shifted or not, 30 days are over now. But I choose the God of the true God, Pradeep Mukherjee. So he gives the answers like miracles are happening in this and that. And when I was in pain, I was thinking, now I'm a little bit off the topic, that we are byproducts in Karachi. When I had this thing, it wasn't going with all my uh, ayats, prayers from the Quran and Naud Ali and Shia prayers. I thought maybe, we are in that pain. Maybe we are byproducts. God has made us byproducts. But what Pradeep Mukherjee, God has told, the true God has told Pradeep Mukherjee, it's better. Yeah, I understand that because I did think, maybe all this is a lie. And the whole thing is a lie. And you see, Christians are blind in this, so in Christianity, now the New Testament, in the New Testament, what do they say? Moreover, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 3 to 4. 3 verse. And even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. They're perishing, finished. Finito. 4. The God of this age has blinded, meaning Satan has blinded the minds of unbelievers. And Christians don't see, they themselves are deceived and blinded. And where the Jews don't see, but the Jews see here very clearly, you see. They don't see any light because Jesus Christ, he can't even be called Christ for God's sakes, let alone the Messiah. He can't even be called a high priest because he's lied so much and so clearly. We can see now through these verses I've shown you. Thank God I found them, whoever is responsible for this. So, this is an obvious what? Christianity finished, right? In my previous live stream, I showed you what I worked out now and can see what was so obvious for the Jews of that time to see that Jesus is not the Messiah, not even Christ, you can call him. He's a liar. He's lied. And see how he's deceived them. And those deceive his disciples and Mary Magdalene and were deceived. Then he has the resurrection. Yes, many people saw and all this. Even this I think can do this, right? Resurrect. Does he die? The god Satan? He has powers too. The God of this age has blinded. Definitely, he's the God. He's another God who can do miracles and all this phenomenal things. So, all this, you see, we are living in the ages more now. We can see dishonesty. Christians who have picked up the Muslim books, sources, sacred Bible, Quran and the Hadiths from the mostly concentrating on heavily Sunni side, the Sunnis take Islamic sources. Also, and not that the Quran is ridiculous in itself. I do accept that. Forget the Hadiths, though. Even the Quran, right? I would say any Muslim who has that. So please, I don't know, like what I have, I can't give it to you, but what I saw, it was enough for me to leave my religion. Even Imam Hussein, even Bibi Zainab, even Zain al-Abidin, मुंह पे नहीं थे नाले करते थे शुक्र सारे करबल से शाम आई बढ़ती दुआएं Zainab. Pain in action. And how patience in action. Atrocities, the heights, zenith of atrocities committed against Prophet's family members and the Imam of the time, Hussein, and then Imam Zain al-Abidin. And I would go crazy, right? I tell you, even though the ones who are raped, I can't talk about it. But if I'm raped, right, technically, I would, it will be very painful. I wouldn't be able to take it. Technically, not technically, whatever. But I wouldn't be able to take it. I would, I just died seeing that someone has raped or something, or even hit a woman, is hit by a man. It's killing, right? Me, killing me. I don't know how they take it. I would have no words to console them. So I can't take it. Point, back to the point is, so I left Shia Islam, yet some Shia also coming here that I'm a liar, I'm not a Shia. I wasn't a Shia meaning. And now the Christian also saying I'm in Taqiyya. After all, I've risked my life for this, and I wanted to be honest with my country or my father's country or my great grandfather's country. I would have called Pakistan my country, but since I separated from my teacher, I had a crisis, a relationship crisis. I stopped seeing Pakistan even. I felt like I don't belong in here in Karachi, Pakistan. So that became I not my country. Like, where do I belong? I'm not, you know, somehow I lost like connection with Pakistan. Many things. And I lost connection with my even Karbala, the wickedness, the atrocity. I couldn't listen to this majlises. So back to the thing. Shall I go back to this Christians lying callously? So honesty, using now those Christians on YouTube using the okay, it's like, but it's good. I agree. This part I agree. You should, but my way is different. I try to understand this. I wouldn't call Lubna in that way, the way Christian Prince or any Christian with Christian Prince called Lubna a hypocrite and uh, a coward, right? In the way, and me, my condition, I flip against people very severely. I so consider mitigating circumstances, my condition, and murder also. We homicide, murder, British law, they consider mitigating. So I feel honesty in these Christians, even gone. Okay, Jesus created miracle. Jesus saved me. Muhammad Farid channel, right? He's become Shia. Oh, sorry, the Iranian Shia. He's become a Christian, and his channel, you can see, he helps those taking interviews and all of those ex-Muslims who have converted to Christianity, leaving my father's religion, joining. So there are Shias. Muhammad Farid was a Shia. Now, are you going to say Christians won't say to him that you are in Taqiyya, right? But to me, ex-Muslim who hasn't converted to Christianity, and God knows what they will pelt me with here, stones. He who has not sinned shall. Jesus also said this, right? He who has not sinned shall cast the first stone. Houston Euler and all this. Now I'm coming to my personal thing here. I could. So wait, forget that for now. I have to be. My commitment to this, helping the ex-Muslims, forget for now. If I can help it, sometimes I can't help it. It comes out and it goes on the what attacks I've had. Okay, so now, sorry, I didn't because the this look at so the whole day, like I so for human oh my goodness, I can't talk about it. Although I commented certain live streams, no war. I said so. Pakistan not behind Pahalgam attack. Federal Post. What is man? Oh, sorry. Pahalgam attack. How will India? So, oh my God, I can't talk about. I couldn't eat and I felt like dying. And what is this? What is this? Still asking myself, watching so many videos on this, asking, what is this? What is this? What is this? Who did this? Who did this? Maybe Pakistan, maybe what Asim Munir said, the army chief of Pakistan. Maybe this is why this happened. No, it can't happen. And I'm going crazy on this, and I'm hungry, but I can't get up. I can't make tea. I have to go. But yes, I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, I get up. So don't worry that much about me. I did Humanity Before Religion, Pahalgam, the New Indian Express, and some are saying, and the mobs, Indian mobs wanting what not? War against Pakistan. Now, war is not going to say as solve. And what Muzaffar, Sayyid Mufas, what has said about this, Sayyid Muzammil, sorry. So there are citizens, there are innocent. You're putting their lives at stake. They are गुर्बत में हैं, poverty में हैं. ये भी पागल हैं, तो तुम लोग भी कम पागल नहीं हो. अभी ये इजराइल पैलेस्टीनियन की तरह नहीं है attack. It's not like that. I can't believe I'm able to talk about this right now. My whole day was like almost, mm, oh, and watching this and can't process my feelings. I couldn't breathe. The thing is coming. It's really terrible. I won't be. Pahalgam Kashmir attack warning to India how mastermind statecraft Sayyid Muzammil Shah. Oh, so you're putting your the Pakistan. Sorry, excuse me. This was I wasn't going to click on this. Neither do I want to. Pahalgam and India Pakistan tension. Sayyid Muzammil. I've seen this and liked it. Official. But I don't want to play this. Sorry, Sayyid Muzammil. Haven't asked her. Maybe we can play it, but still, I don't want to. I don't want to play it